Hey everybody, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling something that's been lurking in the shadows for a while now. It's a topic that might make you rethink what's coming out of your tap.
It might sound a little sci-fi, but we're diving deep into the world of forever chemicals.
Forever chemicals, yeah, that does have a kind of ominous ring to it.
It does, and it really highlights the nature of these chemicals, PFAS. They stick around for a very long time, both in the environment and unfortunately in our bodies too.
Right, and we've actually got a whole bunch of sources we're going to be looking at today. Articles, scientific documents, studies, even a social media post all about PFAS. And one of the articles from NPR actually mentioned scientists are finding these chemicals pretty much everywhere,
Pretty much.
even in our blood, which is a little unnerving.
Yeah, you don't really want to think about that.
Yeah, not really. So let's break it down. What exactly are PFAS, and why on earth are they called forever chemicals?
So PFAS is actually a really, really big family of man-made chemicals. We're talking thousands of them.
Thousands, wow.
Yeah, first developed back in the 1940s, and they kind of took off because they've got some really unique properties. They repel oil and water and stains and heat, so they're super useful in lots of different products.
So like the nonstick coating on my frying pan.
Exactly, yeah. Nonstick cookware, waterproof clothing, firefighting foam, you name it.
I see, so it's that durability that's the problem.
Yeah, basically they're designed to be super tough. They don't break down in the environment, hence the whole forever chemical thing. So they just keep building up over time.
And that's where the health risks come into play.
Yeah, exactly. And it's a growing concern.
So they build up and then end up in the water we drink.
That's one of the main ways, yeah. Because they don't break down, they can hang out in soil and water for like decades. And then eventually they can end up in our drinking water.
So even if I use a filter on my tap, I could still be drinking those chemicals.
It depends. Some filters are better than others. You really need a specific type of filter to get rid of PFAS.
See, that's what I find kind of scary about this whole thing. We trust in these regulations to make sure our water's safe.
Right.
But it sounds like the regulations might not be keeping up with what we know about these PFAS chemicals.
Yeah, that's a really important point. For a long time, the EPA thought if the level of PFAS was super low, then it wasn't really a big deal. But new research is starting to show that even tiny amounts, if you're exposed over a long time, could be harmful.
Okay, so even if my water meets all the current regulations, it could still contain PFAS. That's kind of scary. So what are the health risks we're talking about here?
Well, the science is still developing, but studies have linked PFAS exposure to a lot of different health problems. We're talking about things like higher cholesterol, problems with the immune system, liver damage,
Oh, wow.
even some types of cancers. And there's even some newer research suggesting it could be linked to high blood pressure in women.
Wow. Okay, that's a lot. And just from drinking water.
Unfortunately, yeah. It really makes you think about what's in your water.
For sure. So if these chemicals are so bad, why are they still allowed in things? Why aren't they fully regulated yet?
It's complicated. For one thing, regulations tend to be a little slow to catch up with the science.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And with PFAS, we're talking about thousands of different chemicals.
Right.
So testing and regulating all of those is just a massive, massive job.
I see. Yeah, that makes sense.
Plus, they're used in so many products that are like essential to modern life. You know, if we just got rid of them completely, it would have a huge impact on the economy and how we live our lives.
So it's like a balancing act between protecting public health
Right.
and not disrupting, everything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough situation for sure. But it seems like the EPA is finally starting to take this seriously.
Well, yeah, they have to, right?
Yeah,
With all the new evidence coming out.
definitely. They recently lowered the health advisory levels for some of the PFAS chemicals in drinking water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and it's down to practically zero.
Wow, that's pretty serious.
It is. It's a pretty clear sign that they're starting to recognize the dangers.
Okay, so that really underscores just how important this is. We need to be proactive. We can't just wait for the regulations to catch up. So let's talk about what we can do. I mean, is there any way to actually get rid of these chemicals from our water?
Yeah, actually, there are some pretty simple things you can do to reduce the levels of PFAS in your drinking water.
Okay, well, give it to me. What can I do?
One of the easiest things, believe it or not, is boiling your water.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it's not always the most practical, but studies have shown that it can cut down on PFAS by like 50% or more.
Wow. So even just boiling water for my tea in the morning could make a difference.
Yeah, for sure. Another option is using a carbon filter.
Like a Brita filter.
Yeah, exactly. Those pitcher filters, faucet filters.
Yeah.
Those can really help too. Sometimes they can remove up to 90% of PFAS.
Wow. Okay, so even those basic filters can make a big difference. But I remember reading something on diryl Plumbing and Water Treatment's website, they were talking about something called reverse osmosis.
So reverse osmosis, that's kind of like the big guns of water filtration. It basically uses a special membrane that only lets water molecules through. So all those impurities, all those PFAS chemicals, they get left behind.
So it's like a really, really fine filter.
Yeah, exactly. It's really effective at removing those contaminants.
Is that something that regular people can have in their homes?
Oh, yeah, for sure. DeRolf Plumbing and Water Treatment, they specialize in those kinds of custom in-home water solutions.
Okay, so they can actually come in and install one of these reverse osmosis systems.
Absolutely. And they're great because they really take the time to figure out what your specific water needs are.
Right.
They don't just have like a one-size-fits-all approach.
I see.
So they can recommend the best system for you, whether you need a reverse osmosis system or something else.
So it's not just PFAS that they deal with. They can handle other water problems too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hard water, chlorine, all sorts of stuff. They even have UV filters that can kill bacteria and viruses.
Oh, wow. So they really cover all the bases.
Yeah, they really take a comprehensive approach to water quality. It's pretty impressive. And speaking of which, I actually saw on their social media, they're doing a free water testing event.
Oh, really? Where is that?
It's at Raw Replenish in Royersford. They're inviting people to come by and get their water tested for free. You could find out what's in your water, and they'll even give you some advice on the best filters to use.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So they're giving out free water tests.
Yep.
And you get a
Yeah.
free water bottle too.
Yep, you get a free bottle. You might even be able to snag a smoothie while you're there.
Oh, bonus. That's a good deal.
It's a great opportunity to really learn about your water and get some expert advice. And while you're at it, tell your friends about it. Tell them to check out DeRolf. They have a great referral program.
Oh, cool. Yeah, so if you know anybody struggling with water quality issues, or even if they just want to learn more about what's in their water,
Yeah,
send them over to DeRolf.
perfect. I always love it when we can share some practical information that people can actually use.
Me too, me too.
Yeah.
It's all about empowering people to take control of their health,
Yeah,
especially when it comes to something as essential as water. You can't live without it.
for sure. So we've learned a lot about what PFAS are, why they're so concerning, and how we can protect ourselves. But it does feel like we're only just starting to understand the full scope of this problem.
It really does, and I think this whole thing with the EPA dropping the acceptable level to almost zero, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, it really makes you wonder what's next. Like, are we going to start seeing tougher regulations on PFAS and all these different products?
It's definitely possible. I mean, the EPA has already started to phase out certain types of PFAS.
Right. And as more research comes out and we see more evidence of the dangers, we could definitely see even stricter regulations or maybe even complete bans on some of these chemicals.
And how about for us regular people? Like, do you think we'll start seeing more products that are labeled as PFAS-free?
Oh, absolutely. As more people learn about this and start demanding PFAS-free products, companies are going to have to respond.
Right.
We're already starting to see that in some industries like outdoor gear and cookware.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that. So this whole thing is definitely something to keep an eye on. It seems like we're on the cusp of some pretty major changes in how we think about and deal with these forever chemicals.
For sure. And the more we know as consumers, the better choices we can make for our health and for the environment.
Absolutely, and that's what it's all about. This deep dive has been a real eye-opener. I feel like I've learned so much, but more importantly, I feel like I can actually do something about it.
Exactly. It's about taking those little steps, supporting companies that care about water quality.
And spreading the word, letting people know that this is a real issue.
Absolutely. Knowledge is power.
That's the truth. So before we wrap up, one last reminder for everyone. DeRolf Plumbing and Water Treatment is having a free water testing event at Raw Replenish in Royersford.
That's right. Go down, get your water tested, find out what's in it, and talk to the experts about what you can do to protect yourself.
It's the perfect opportunity to take control of your water quality. And if you need any help with that, DeRolf is definitely the place to go. They offer custom in-home solutions to make sure you have clean, safe, PFAS-free water right from your tap.
And they have a great referral program. So if you know anyone who's worried about their water quality, be sure to tell them about DeRolf.
That's what it's all about, sharing information and helping each other out. Well, that's about all the time we have for today, but remember, keep asking questions, keep learning, and keep diving deep.